Uh, but you do have storms that roll in, forcing people to move about, high flight ceiling, lots of room for big open engagements.
This is the first of a best of three, the finals for today's Sunday Rumble, number 25. Starting out with the loadouts here. First one for the Spire for the Glowwater Thralls, piloted by Graphic Sturdy. We have the Wizard. It's got a Lumberjack on it. We have a couple. We have a single Artemis, actually. I thought it was double Artemis there for a second. A Mercury
Yeah.
and a Flare Launcher. We also have the Thank You Caroline, piloted by Fiasco Total. It's got a Cat Mortar on the front, Metamidian, with a double Mercury on the side.
And for the Crimson Sky Riders, we have the Lib Clutter being piloted by Lueosi. We have a Merc on the top with Artemai on the top deck and a pair of Carronades for defense on the bottom. And for the Solus Ordum being piloted by, I can get the name, Hillerton. It is a Hades Artemis front Pyramidion with an Artemis and a flare gun on the side. And already we're seeing a couple of shots fired, but it looks like Crimson Skyriders really want to make their way over, and already the Glowwater Thralls have taken their position up at the ribs.
This is going to be very useful for the Glowwater Thralls. They're going to be able to pop in and out of those ribs quite quickly, especially for the Wizard, which can go in altitude, go up and down in altitude very quickly. Lib Clutter actually just took a nasty shot from the Lumberjack on the Wizard. Great targeting solution there on the Lib Clutter. That's not easy to do. I speak from experience there, but shots are definitely landing on the Lib Clutter. They're going to have to do some defensive maneuvers here, some evasive maneuvers to not continue taking these shots.
The Lib Clutter is trying to keep its balloons safe by flying low. The problem is it's setting them so low. Whoa, armor getting hit right there. Hull is exposed. They're dropping, but that's going to make it easier for the Lumberjack to hit. Certainly, the armor is going to block it, but as Sunderland pointed out in chat, you don't need to hit the balloon directly. The burst on the Lumberjack is huge.
The trick for hitting a Mobula is just hitting it. The burst will take care of everything else, but you have to be able to hit it with the Lumberjack in the first place, which is it's not the easiest thing in the world to do.
No, it's not, especially at this sort of range. The Mercs are getting pretty darn close, but the Lib Clutter is being
Oh,
forced to back up.
great Hades fire on the Spire, landing in from the Solus Ordum. They have that target locked. The Wizard reeling backwards, taking pressure off the Lib Clutter to get things back together as best they can. Wizard, though, nearly lost a lot of their permahull if more of those Hades shots had landed. They were coming in, but a great dodge by the Wizard's going to save most of that permahull.
Both of the fragile ships are being targeted by each team this time. The Wizard, losing its armor once again, should be able to bring it back up before anything too bad goes down. But you see the Lib Clutter and the Wizard both getting targeted very hard, so that means the Pyramidians are the ones that are going to really need that power. And you compare the two of them. The Thank You Caroline has two Mercs for long range. That's great for armor shred, but it's not going to do much to the hull. It's just going to chip. The Solus Ordum has a Hades Artemis. Harder to land, but there's not a lot of movement going down.
Yeah, when you're not moving around a lot, when you have these kind of fixed positions for the time being where people are using cover and clouds, that was hard for me to say for some reason. Solus Ordum losing their balloon there for just a moment. Should be coming back up here very shortly. We don't have a lot of movement. Cover and clouds are are what they're using right now instead of movement. It's very easy to get that Hades on target, repeatedly on target. Solus Ordum losing their outer hull. Permahull is down to about half. They could bump here.
Oh,
I believe they're
so
actually
close.
grinding against the ground. Oh, nasty shots coming in. Those Mercs are on target. Lumberjack shots coming in as well. Bump against the battleship. Takes him out. First kill for the Glowwater Thralls.
Hardcover is a massive advantage in this sort of engagement. You have both teams flying pretty low to the ground, trying to get easier arcs on one another. But that means that if you lose your balloon, you're going to be in a bad way. And of course, the Lumberjack is going to have the better of the balloon popping potential. But you see that the only hard cover that the Crimson Sky Riders have is this big battleship. But they weren't hanging out, on the far side of it. They were hanging out on the close side of it. They couldn't back up behind it if they needed cover. So that allowed the Glowwater Thralls to peek out, deal damage. If they lost the engagement, they just sort of backed up behind the ribs again, pop out one more time, and just kept going over and over until they got the perfect engagement. And as soon as that balloon got popped, as soon as the armor got broken on the Soulless Ordom, they could just keep the fire on. So they could essentially reset over and over again. It's like quick saving. That's what the
Yeah,
hardcover was
absolutely.
like. Just sort of quick save and then every time things go poorly, you quick load, quick load, quick load. Okay, that time it went well.
That time I remember to open my doors in FTL.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not gonna
If
go there.
only if
A
only
wizard
there were quick saving.
normally I don't like the profile of the Spire. I'm not a huge fan of it, despite the fact I am primarily a gunner. It needs a gunner. I'm not a huge fan of the Spire. The Spire, those profiles actually working really well in its advantage. This rib here normally does not block a lot. You have to kind of shimmy your ship behind it just to block a shot from this kind of range. In this case, though, the Spire fits perfectly behind this rib and can easily just block any fire coming in with a quick little backup, as we're going to see right now. They're just going to quickly and gently back up right behind it. No big deal, no mess, no fuss.
Maybe not. He's decided to keep guns in arc. The Hades are not landing. I think that risk may have been worth it, firing out at the Soulless Ordom, but there is no spot on it. Instead, their only real target is going to be the Lib Clutter. Still, I gotta give props to the engineers aboard the Spire. They're still managing to keep the thing in the air while firing their guns very, rapidly. That just kind of tells me that they've practiced the Wizard a lot. I mean, it's a ship we see all the time from the Thralls.
We do see it every so
So
often.
I'm just gonna name them. I'm gonna give a shout out to Victor Wallace and Mezu. Like, those two guys are beast moding this Spire.
Thank you, Caroline. Also, that Mercfire has been extremely accurate so far. Obviously, Mercury is very easy to shoot accurately, especially at mid-range. This isn't necessarily mid-range. It's definitely long range, but still, great, accurate Mercury fire so far, especially on the Soulless Ordom. They were partially responsible for that first kill on the Soulless Ordom itself.
Now we see the Crimson Skyriders have gained the position behind the battleship this time. Now they're going to have some semblance of cover in case things don't go their way.
The Soulless Ordom won't be able to use it quite as well, but the Lib Clutter, a Mobula, which can rise and drop very quickly should they need. They can use this slim profile of the battleship as perfect cover to just quickly pop out, take a couple shots, pop back down when trouble starts to show its head. It's going to be great for them to use if they know how to use it properly.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's sort of what they're doing right now. They're hanging low. The Soulless Ordom, content to sort of hang up in the clouds here. He's not going to use them to move in, even though they're going the direction of the Glowwater Thralls. I feel like that may be the next step for them, is using these clouds to try and engage. Ooh,
It
maybe
would
not.
make
Flare
sense.
coming out.
I'm not sure the Glowwater Thralls want to leave their position right now. It's a decent position. It's a place that they've already had some success on this map. Why
Well, I'm more
break
talking
something that's
about
good?
I'm talking about the Crimson Skyriders. If they want to move forward, because right now they've been doing well, but they're a kill down, and these Hades shots have got to land. Oh my goodness, armor goes down quickly on the Wizard. Already brought down to half permahull. That's all it takes on the flimsy Spire.
I do believe, if I was looking at reloads correctly, that was a timed strike by the Crimson Skyriders. They unloaded all their weapons on the Wizard at the same time in a single combined alpha strike.
That's some really nice coordination we're seeing, and the thank you Caroline doesn't have any spots. They cannot land anything. I heard a flare go out. I believe that was from the Soulless Ordom. Is that the only ship with a flare gun in this game? It is. It's throwing out flares to make sure that even when clouds roll in, they can keep spots down on the Glowwater Thralls. And that's exactly what they're doing.
There is also a flare gun on the Spire, but I don't think they've even looked at it yet.
Right now, I think they're more concerned about the thank Caroline. The Wizard is at
Yeah.
half armor, it's already, or half hull, excuse me, it's already afraid to really do anything right now. See, it pops out. All it takes is a couple of shots to make the thing retreat. The Thank You Caroline
Solosaurus
is at full hull.
Solosaurus lost their outer hull there, but no other shots came in. They were very lucky because their outer hull was actually down for easily 5 to 7 seconds there. Great window for the Glowwater Thralls they weren't able to take advantage of. I think partially because they just had no decent spot on the Solosaurus.
Yeah, that, and they're a little bit terrified. If the armor goes down on the wizard again, if another Alpha Strike comes out, then it could easily go down. And then when that happens, think about it. You're going to have the Crimson Sky Riders charging in. The wizard won't be able to move in to support the Thank You Caroline, and they could clean up a second kill. So losing the wizard also means losing the Thank You Caroline and their hard cover. That's something they cannot afford.
Spot did go down on the Solus Ortum just now. Looks like fire is coming from both the Wizard and the Thank You Caroline. Merc shots going out, Lumberjack shots going out. Not a ton of it landing, though. Solus Ortum does not have the best cover in the world, though. Clouds breaking. Wizard hiding back, though, because of pressure. The outer hull did take some shots there.
Right now, you just need to get a nice Alpha Strike. Here, we're seeing another Alpha Strike on the Thank You Caroline. Armor's at half, but nothing more is going to land. Instead, he's going to back up behind the ribs. Oh, still eating shots. Why is he not moving? I guess he supposes he can get those shots going back out, but the armor is not looking good. Just one more Merc shot, one more of anything really will do it, and then he'll start taking permanent damage.
I think the crew there feels pretty comfortable with the basic amount of cover they have and the fact that they aren't even spotted anymore. It's not like the Lib Clutter or the Solosaurus can't shoot them at this point. They have a direct target of it, essentially, but they have no line of sight. They have no frame of reference.
So right now, even though the Glowwater Thralls are 1 kill up, that half hull on the Wizard is really hurting them. What do the Glowwater Thralls have to do to turn this game back in their favor?
In my opinion, they need to be less conservative. They need to not necessarily be so afraid of the Wizard's health. Yeah, they're 1 kill up already. Use that. Put the pressure on one of those Crimson Sky Rider ships. Solus Ortum has just been sitting out in the open so far. Lib Clutter, if they repeatedly take that balloon down with the Lumberjack, it's going to be in a lot of trouble as well. It's sitting over the battleship. It's sitting over debris.
Right now, Lib Clutter's moved a little bit forward. It doesn't have cover immediately available for it, but it has an easy arc on the Thank You Caroline. Armor goes down on the Solus Ortum, though. He's dropping. Thank You Caroline
had hull break as well after they had a nasty bump on the ribs. Really nasty bump on the ribs.
Yeah, and then they have a dust storm rolling in as well. But he's going to be okay. I think it just barely passed by them. The Wizard has backed up even more. They are terrified. You're saying that Glowwater Thralls need to get more aggressive. They're doing the opposite. They're terrified. What's the time left on this match?
The time limit on all Sunday Rumble matches is 30 minutes. Could we get a timestamp for the players and the casters, please? We'll get that here in just a few moments, folks. Wizard has actually reeled backwards quite a distance. I didn't see this before. You might have pointed it out, but I didn't realize how far the Wizard has actually pulled back at this point.
Yeah, it almost seems like they're willing to forego their position in the rib. Right now, even though they have the hard cover, it's going to be very easy for I'm always going to forget their name, the Crimson Sky Riders, to sort of take advantage of it. If either the Thank You Caroline or the Wizard pops out, they can focus them down so well. We already saw the ridiculously good combined fire of the Crimson Sky Riders in that timing, though the Glowwater Thralls trying to do the same thing to the Lib Clutter. Not a whole lot happening, though. Thank You Caroline getting the worst end of this deal.
They're taking some very nasty shots. Outer hull of Thank You Caroline goes down. They're seeing those perma-hull shots land now, giving the Lib Clutter a little bit of momentum here to get those shots accurate. The Solus Ortum, however, is focusing more on the Wizard. Shots landing on the outer hull. No permahull damage to speak of at all yet, though. Graphic Sturdy burning a little bit of kerosene to get it out of firing arc.
There is no spot on the Wizard, and those Hades shots are still coming in. This has got to terrify them. Armor is down to half. One turning engine is down. Balloon is okay, but they are backing up even farther. Slowly but surely, the Crimson Skyriders are pushing the Thralls out of the ribs.
Again, we're seeing the Glowwater Thralls continuing to just slink backwards ever so slightly, specifically with the Spire. We need to see them try to take control of this map once again. It was a great early push they did to the ribs. They got in cover. They got accurate firepower on the Solus Ortum, and they were able to focus it down without much trouble at all. Solus Ortum's outer hull down to half here as sniper shots do indeed come in. They're letting themselves, the Glowwater Thralls are letting themselves be controlled at this point, though. Hades shots starting to land on the Wizard. Long range Hades shots, in fact, very long range. The Glowwater Thralls are letting themselves be controlled at this point. And if there's one consistent thing we usually see with teams that either win a match or lose a match, it's who controls who. Who dictates the flow of combat. And right now, for better or worse, the Crimson Skyriders have taken control of this engagement.
The Glowwater Thralls are waiting for the Crimson Skyriders to make a mistake. All it's going to take is one little mistake, and then the Crimson Skyriders are going to get blasted out of the air because they have no cover right now. Every shot from the Skyriders has to land. If any barrage misses, they're going to be in a huge amount of trouble. But right now, everything is landing just as they need to. The Thank You Caroline is behind this tiny bit of cover. If it moves the slightest bit, then it's going to be exposed. The Wizard way out here. Thank You Caroline is exposed. Hades coming in. Armor not quite burning, but it is very low. Hades comes in, knocks out the Mercury field gun. There's nothing the Thank You Caroline can do. The Wizard has got to do something, but it's repositioning right now.
Wizard has no arc at all right now. Just barely getting an arc with the Lib Clutter right now. They haven't been able to help the Thank You Caroline in this engagement, though. But a dust cloud is blowing in right now. It's going to cause a lot of problems for the Crimson Sky Riders.
That being said, the Wizard's armor went down thanks to a couple shots. It's going to back up. I think the dust storm is going to give it a reprieve. And so he's going to back up behind the cover, but now the Thank You Caroline is in a lot of trouble. Lib Clutter and Solus Ortum moving in. They want this mid-range engagement. They want the Hades to be able to land easily, but a couple of bad dust storms coming in. It's going to hit the Thank You Caroline. It's going to lose its engines if it doesn't get out of here right now. And the Glowwater Thralls are continually being forced back farther and farther.
Wizard has moved up ever so slightly, though. Try and get a little more offensive, but as soon as I say that, they start retreating once again.
Yeah, they're kerosening back. They are too afraid. As soon as those clouds leave, it's going to be easy for the Wizard to get hit. Oh, but those lumberjack shots are coming in on the Solus Ortum. If that balloon goes down, it may give the Glowwater Thralls the chance that they've been waiting for. The Wizard now has line of sight on the Solus Ortum, but the Wizard is now taking fire from the Lib Clutter.
The Wizard is actually not in arc of the Solus Ortum right now, but as I say, that Solus Ortum is rising up into the arc of the Wizard. No, Wizard's dropping down. Wizard's dropping down. They're trying to avoid this fire from the Lib Clutter. Solus Ortum has a clear shot right on the Thank You Caroline. Thank You Caroline is having to shirk backwards, just gently hide backwards, trying to dodge some of this fire. They're burning, though. They're losing at least one engine right now.
This is huge. Dust Cloud comes in. It's going to disable the Thank You Caroline, and now the Glowwater Thralls are split. They can't get the crossfire going because the Wizard is just too weak. They can target one ship. I should say the Crimson Skyriders can target one ship down so easily right now. And so the Glowwater Thralls can't take advantage of this sort of split position. The Lib Clutter off to the side. It's a little bit low. I'm wondering, does he have hydrogen? He does. At any moment, he could use it to rise up and completely decimate the Thank You Caroline. Though, the Thank You Caroline is a Metamidian. Even though it's been using those Merc cannons, it is a Metamidian. But the Solus Ortum and Libclutter are below him in the clouds. They could rise up and pull a Jaws on him at any second.
I don't think the Crimson Skyriders realize where the Thank You Caroline is.
Maybe not.
Oh my
It's
god,
behind
thank
them.
you, Caroline. Coming back in on the Solus Ortum with the Gap Mortar. They blindsided the Crimson Skyriders. They have tried to wrest control of this match, of this game rather. Once again, great move from Thank You, Caroline, but great piloting on the Solus Ortum gets them out of the situation. And now, Thank You, Caroline is drawn out for the Libclutter and their fire.
Solus Ortum did a nice move to get out of there, but the Libclutter is way far away, and it's in a dust cloud. Thank you, Caroline, eating a lot of fire, though the Hades was just in arming time. Artemis doing a lot of damage. Solus Ortum still has its armor, but nope, not going to be enough for... Oh, I will always forget it. Thank you, Caroline. They were firing out those mortars desperately, trying to take out a couple guns, but some really, really nice piloting on the part of Hillerton, getting him out of the arc of that Gap mortar, and now the Wizard is at the mercy of these two ships.
That was a great little up and over. That was an amazing
It
little
was
up
pretty.
and over the Solus Ortum did.
It was really pretty. They had hydrogen. I'm not sure that they even burnt the hydrogen for that.
I don't think they needed to at a certain point. The charge from the Thank You, Caroline was fitting right into their plan with what they wanted to do. After they realized it was happening, they were able to swing around and draw him out so the Mobula could just sit back and do what it does best. Spire goes down to focused fire from the Libclutter and the Solus Ortum. Too much as the Crimson Skyriders have taken the ribs.
Oh, just as a dust cloud rolls in on the Libclutter, the Thank You, Caroline coming in. They want a quick Gap mortar kill, but I'm not sure the Libclutter is going to allow that. They have those carronades. Do they have heavy clip? No, they do not. They have Lesmok. I don't think they can disable this Gap mortar. They've got to get out of here. They're going to burn hydrogen to get out of the arc.
Oh,
but
Libclutter!
they bump. They bump the ribs, and now they're in a ton of trouble. Solus Ortum firing in, but those Hades shots are not landing how they need to. Armor's at half. It's dropping quick. That Gat is doing a huge amount of damage, burning hydrogen once again, but there's no balloon. They're going to lose their balloon and armor. Moonshine down to try and go beneath the Thank You, Caroline, but it's going to make the mortars easy to land. Solus Ortum coming up behind him. Might be trying to get a ramp to knock him out, but there's going to be a Goomba Stomp from the Thank You, Caroline. If they can knock him into the ground, that's going to be it. Mortars coming out preemptively. There goes the armor. Here come the mortars. 2 for 2, but now the Thank You, Caroline is beneath the Solus Ortum, and he's going to back up. Easy shots for the Hades and Artemis. There's the burst. Balloon is almost down on the Thank You, Caroline. They're burning Moonshine to try to close distance. Gatling is landing, but it's a little bit too far away to do a huge amount of damage. And now the Thank You, Caroline is eating just way too much from the Artemis. Hades landing as well. Armor comes up at the last second, but the balloon is popped. He's going to start bouncing. Lumberjack coming in, trying to pop the balloon to the Solus Ortum. And he's going to turn on the Wizard. No, he's not. He's going to keep arc on the Thank You, Caroline. Armor goes down. One more shot will do it. Hades goes wide. Armor's back up. I cannot believe that the Caroline is still alive.
It's inconceivable, to use an infamous term. The Wizard, though, actually thought Thank You, Caroline was their target, was the Solus Ortum, and they started firing on it early on. They had to do a big reposition to try and fire on the Solus Ortum, but it was too little too late. The Libclutter has started putting pressure on the Wizard.
And he's being forced to back up into the ribs. The Thank You, Caroline, only barely getting away with his life. Time is running short. Right now, if there isn't another kill soon, it's going to default to a draw. And it's still going to be 0-0 for games.
That
so the
was
Wizard eating some
unfortunately
Hades.
That was unfortunately a big mistake by the Wizard. They thought the Thank You, Caroline was actually the Solus Ortum. That was a big critical error, because if they had known the actual position of the Solus Ortum at the time and gotten placed to get fire on it as it was retreating out of the ribs, they would have had an easy kill, an excessively easy kill on it.
Balloons down on the Solus Ortum, and the armor is not looking good. They're gonna bounce. Hull is exposed. They take quite a bit of damage. Balloons up. They're going to start rising, but this is not looking good at all. Armor comes back up just in the nick of time.
Libclutter is sitting way too far back. They're trying to do the excessively long-range firepower, but in this situation with the ribs and the clouds the way they are, I just don't think it's going to work out too well for them. They need to get a little bit closer. They need to get better shot arcs.
Yeah, right now the ribs are sort of making it difficult. Being out in the open, not having cover, may be bad for defense, but it makes it very easy to keep arcs whenever you need them. Soulless Ordom able to rise back up. What's the time left? Urs, can we get a timestamp?
Again, 30 minutes is the time limit. We'll be getting a timestamp from Urs here very shortly in chat. If we hit the 30-minute mark without any team getting 3 kills total, we're going to default it to a draw and move on to the next map in the rotation, which will be Paradin Rumble. 5 minutes are remaining in this game.
Right now, I think the Glowwater Thralls, with a thank you Caroline being so low, are just going to try and play defense. Let this game go to a draw, start fresh, but I'm not sure that the Crimson Skyriders want to let that happen.
They're
Soulless
moving in.
Ordom moving in with the clouds. This is pretty close.
They're going to need a nasty dust cloud, though. They're just sitting it for the most part. Libclutter trying to get out as best he can, but Soulless Ordom just pretty much ate it in its entirety.
He's doing okay. His guns are up. He only lost his port side guns. The Wizard taking a lot. Libclutter coming around from the side. Armor goes down. Wizard is below half armor right now, and the Hades continue to land on that easy-to-hit vertical profile. I cannot believe the Wizard is still alive. They have 2 engineers camping it. They're just trying to survive, but it's not going to be enough. Third kill goes down. Once that 30-minute mark hits, it's going to go into overtime. But the thank you Caroline is at such low hull armor that I'm not sure we may even see any overtime if the Wizard comes back to try and save him. Gapfire goes down on the Soulless Ordom.
They're going to try and brawl down the Soulless Ordom as best they can, but Libclutter's just sitting back, dealing damage. Thank you, Caroline. Had no chance in hell. No chance whatsoever.
That was fast. That was so fast. The combined fire of the Hades, a Mercury, and 3 Artemi was more than enough.
Wizards going in. It looks like Glowwater Thralls have just said, you know what, we fought this one well. You guys win.
I think, yeah, Glowwater Thralls have no cover. They want to try to retake the ribs, but there's no way. The defense is way too hard. Armor goes down, hull taking hits. Couple more Artemis shots will be it, but no. They were all out of ammo. Hades coming in. There it is. That was some beautiful Guns of Icarus play.
Very tough. Very hard-fought match there. Congratulations, both Glowwater Thralls and Crimson Skywriters, for an amazing matchup. Powerhouse matchup. I gotta say,
that was one of the best, like, mechanically best games of Guns of Icarus I've ever seen. That was really good.
It's odd to hear someone say that because you won.
Though with the mid-range build of the Wizard that we were seeing, it's possible that they may try to control the lanes a little bit more. They may try to take more mid-range lanes. They do exist on this map. You see one up in the north. You see it down in the south as well. And it's going to be easy to position that with the Spire.
Going over loadouts here. First up, the thank you Caroline. We have a Metamidian on the front, Carronade, and a flare gun on the side, piloted by Fiasco Total. Second up is the Wizard. It's a Spire, piloted by Graphic Sturdy. We have on that a Hwacha on the front with a Flak, Mine Launcher, and Hades support. Oracle?
Oh, whoops, sorry. Forgetting that by push talk button. For the Crimson Skyriders, we have the LibGTK being piloted by Luosi. It's a Metamidian Gap Mortar forward with a Carronade and Flare on the port side. And for the Soulless Ordom, being piloted by Hillerton, it is a Hades Artemis front Pyramidium with an Artemis and a Flare gun on the side. So a couple of Flare guns to try to keep control.
It makes sense. I like the fact that the Wizard is taking the Mine Launcher. I don't like the fact the Wizard is the only one taking the Mine Launcher.
Really? Oh, what were you hoping to see, another Gap Mine Launcher?
Well, I love seeing a Gap Mine Launcher myself. That's, oh my god, yes please. I was hoping that at least one of the Pyramidians on the Crimson Skyrider side of things would have taken a mine launcher in the 4 slot, just one of them instead of the flare gun. But they decided that because of how hard it can be to see on this map, they both wanted to take flares.
What that tells me is if they both want that flare gun utility, they may be deciding to split up. I mean, think about it. Why else would you take a second flare gun? Because you want to try to get a different angle with that flare gun to pop it into another cloud. I can only imagine that's what they're doing. The other possibility is they just want their bottom deck engineer to fire off a couple of flares and then let it reload and get back to his repairing.
If
Because it does
nothing
do a
else,
fair bit of fire.
it does give them another avenue to deal some serious damage. You get two of those flare shots into a balloon, it's going to burn down.
So, FYI, for everyone watching who is not aware, the flare gun does have utility in that if you launch it into a cloud, it reveals all enemy ships and ally ships. But if it actually manages to land on a ship, whatever component it hits gets 10 stacks of fire, 100% guaranteed. And you get 2 shots with each flare gun, with each reload. So that's a potential max 20 stacks on any particular component with the flare gun.
Not only does I believe it's 8 stacks of fire disable a weapon right now, that means you
Yes,
can disable 2 weapons with a single load of a flare gun if your shots
if
are
you hit 'em.
incredibly accurate. I don't know. We don't normally see that ever because it's so hard to land them accurately. It's more likely they're going to hit the hull or the balloon, bigger targets that it's easier to just okay, quick point shoot, quick point shoot.
Yep, that's probably what they're going to be going for. And you look at the ships. That's all you really need. Think about what would happen to a Spire's armor. The Spire doesn't have much armor. What happens if 2 flare shots hit that armor? 20 stacks of fire. It is going to burn down so fast.
Oh, Wizard
Plus,
bumped. Oh, Wizard bumped. They lost a
they'll
little
be
bit of their
fine.
outer hull there. Got to be careful. Thinking Caroline having to slow down. I will say this though, for flare gun tactics, it might not work out so well for the Crimson Skyriders. Both Glowwater Thrall ships have chem spray all over them. Thank you, Caroline, more so than the Wizard.
Yeah, it's hard to keep rotations going on the Spire because of the way all the components are spaced out. But they may. Do they have any chem spray aboard that ship? They do.
Uh oh,
Uh,
Crimson Skyriders just lost Geo, their primary gunner for the Solus Ortum.
We're probably going to pause. Yeah, Louis OC is asking for a pause. Neither team has quite seen it.
Glowwater
Yep,
Thralls are granting it.
and
Graphic Sturdy saying, yep, pause. Geo is back in the game. Crimson Sky Riders do appreciate it, and they're saying they are good to start over again. Or continue the game, rather.
excellent. And of course, the gun does not lose its ammo when you lose the person. So everything is right as rain. And these two teams are about to meet each other potentially. The Glowwater Thralls are a little split up for this. The Thank You Caroline may be in a lot of
It
trouble once
looks
he
like this
rounds this
split is done
corner.
on purpose, though. It
It
looks
is.
like the wizard is trying to ambush, getting set up for an ambush, while Thank You Caroline comes in from behind to try and stalk out the Crimson Sky Riders. We
Oh
have a
no.
sight from Thank You Caroline. No spots going down. They're trying to keep the Oh, never mind. They have indeed spotted each other. It's 2-on-1 in this situation. The wizard is coming in as fast as physically possible, rising up with the Thank You Caroline. They're drawing out the Crimson Sky Riders. Solus Ortum is taking the bait, and he is gonna eat Hwacha.
In just a moment, beautifully timed. Watcher comes out in small bursts. Engine column on the Solus Ortum goes down. Thank you, Caroline, eating some gap mortar fire, but I think he's going to be all right. It's going to be close. Thank you, Caroline, firing that gat down hard. The armor is still up on the Thank you, Caroline. Libgatek's armor goes down. It's eating hull damage from the mortar. Watcher goes out. That's going to be it for
Great
him.
Hwacha
And the
kill.
Solus Ortum is stuck in the arc of the Wizard and the Thank you, Caroline.
This was a great draw out from the Glowwater Thralls. They used the Thank You Caroline as they kill the other Pyramidian 2-0 in favor of Glowwater Thralls. I love how the Thank You Caroline acted as if it was shocked and surprised to come up behind the Crimson Sky Riders, then try to rise up out of sheer fear. But instead, they were drawing the Crimson Sky Riders into a trap.
You know, you don't see that sort of misdirection a whole lot in Guns of Icarus anymore. A lot of the time it's maximizing DPS, keeping good positions, but that was beautiful. This may be one of the best of threes I've ever seen in Guns of Icarus. The wizard coming around the corner, it's been spotted.
Wizard is just right around the corner here. We're going to see a big brawl starting up here in
Mines.
just a few moments.
He's going to use these mines to try and zone him out. Wizard
Thank
hanging
you,
around the
Caroline
corner.
is eating a lot of fire very quickly. He's rising up, trying to get out of arc. Wizard, though, Wizard tapped. Wizard tapped against the building and got stuck, just literally losing a lot of momentum. Thank you, Caroline is starting to lose hull at this point. Their outer hull could go down here at any moment. They come back up, though. LibGTK eating Hwacha Blast, which is mostly inaccurate. Not a lot of damage done. Wizard slinking back down below the building. Solo Sordom and LibGTK both focusing on the Thank You Caroline. Thank You Caroline doing a straight dodge upwards to get out of arc of LibGTK, and now LibGTK needs to deal with the Wizard before he can look back at the Thank You Caroline. LibGTK could go down here at any moment. They are burning, they were moonshining there even. LibGTK outer hull goes down again. We are not seeing any shots come in. There it is, coming in from the Wizard. Third kill for the Glowwater Thralls.
There's a quick switch onto that Echidna. He was off the Hwacha and on the Echidna to deal that hull damage that he needed to at that exact moment. Thank you, Caroline, eating some serious fire from the Solus Ordum, but I think the Artemis is out of fire. Big bump from the Solus Ordum. He's stuck, and now he's between a Metamidian and a hard place. He's going to try to run past him, but a nice bomb from the LibGTK. He's right there to help the Solus Ordum, and now the Wizard is going to be the target. Hades shots coming out. Nice Hwacha, going to keep him alive a little longer. Thank you, Caroline has got to support him, though.
Wizard's outer hull has gone down. They are taking permahull chip damage. Oh, Mortar's coming out, just barely gets that outer hull back up before they lose too much permahull. Permahull, outer hull goes down again. Permahull taking chip damage from the Gat Mortar. It's too much. Wizard goes down.
Thank you, Caroline wants this kill, though. He's not going to let it go. That goes down. Armor is not looking good on either ship, but the Solus Ordum has its Hades on the Caroline. LibGTK dropping down to safety. Hades comes out. Artemis is going to land. They're gunning for those engines, so he can't get his arcs back in. Hades doing huge damage. Armor goes down again. Balloon is nowhere to be seen. Mortar goes out. Quick kill. And that is going to be still 3 for 2, but
oh no, Wizard
Crimson
Wizard needs
Skyriders
to pull back. They shot a couple blasts at the Solus Ordum. I don't think the Crimson Skyriders realized the direction, but that was very risky for the Wizard.
yeah, he's going to be okay for now. I think the Crimson Skyriders are content to slow down, repair themselves back to full, and let go. That was some really nice defensive play from the Crimson Skyriders.
Yeah, great spawn back in too. Great spawn choice. It was exactly what we needed to see from them. Normally you think, okay, engagement's going south for a team, don't spawn nearby, let the team reset. Crimson Skyriders were like, no, we're keeping this going. We can win this.
Oh, Wizard takes tap. Caroline's gonna stop. She doesn't want to go too far in. Crimson Skyriders right around the corner. I don't think they see the Glowwater Thralls yet, though. They're hanging out behind the bridge.
They're gonna see the
Caroline's
Wizard.
moving in.
They're gonna see the Wizard.
Yep, that big, fat rooster head of his going to pop up pretty soon. No, they're going to stay low and in the clouds. I don't think either team actually sees each other yet. This is going to be terrifying. The Wizard
is going to be spotted here.
There's the spot on the LibGTK and the Solus Ordum, and they are going to rise up quick if they want to jaws it. They could jaws it right now. Caroline rising up, using moonshine to get in.
They waited. The Glowwater Thralls waited for both Crimson Skyrider ships to turn towards Thank You Caroline. Wizard rose up at that point. Hwacha shots going out against LibGTK through the buildings, taking out their front guns. Solo Swordman getting a very similar treatment. Great disables from the Glowwater Thralls.
He used one clip to disable 3 front guns on those Pyramidians. Beautiful play, but now the Thank You Caroline needs to get those shots out. The Wizard getting targeted by the Soulless Ordom. Hades coming out. That was some nice Watcher play,
Thank You
but
Caroline
may
is
not be enough.
burning Moonshine to get a big burst of speed. They did get it too. They are moving quickly, but they're also absorbing a lot of damage now. Wizard needs to keep focusing their fire on a singular target, or Thank You Caroline's gonna go down again.
Those Hades shots are going just a little bit wide, and the Thank You Caroline is going to pay for the Wizard's sins. And now this Spire is all alone at the mercy of the Soulless Ordom and the Lib GTK. Hades coming out hard. Artemis going to disable those guns. Nice Watcher Barrage going to buy a little bit of time. The Lib GTK's Gap Mortar are in position. Mortar comes out. Beautiful timing. And I think this is going to be it for the Wizard. Armor comes back up, but he's going to tap.
Great mine hit.
Doesn't matter too much.
Yeah, it's,
Metamidian
unfortunately,
in your face.
the situation is as such. As a Spire, you don't want to go up against a Metaminion alone.
Oh, no!
Combined with, Thank You Caroline, what are you doing? They're charging out there, trying to get a kill on the Soulless Ordom. They're hanging just outside of arming time, though. Soulless Ordom running out of room to retreat. Thank You Caroline is going to try and pinch them.
Soulless Ordom doing a good job moving forward, but if he doesn't get this perfectly, he's going to ram. That's a big ram coming out. The Wizard going to disable the Lib GTK. I don't think anything got completely disabled, but still everything is nice and damaged. Thank You Caroline has a nice arc on the Soulless Ordom, but the Wizard has the Lib GTK's number. Echidna comes out. Huge damage. Hull is at half. Hwacha almost brings him down to nothing. Thank You Caroline locking down the Soulless Ordom. This could be it. The Glowwater Thralls have the better of this engagement.
This is insane. This is a crazy turnaround. A little extra pressure there from Thank You Caroline at last minute. Continued this engagement, and now Soulless Ordom can't help support. Oh my god, it's 4-4!
I think a lot of this is going to depend on where the Lib GTK spawns. The Wizard is firing those Hades out of the Soulless Ordom, but the Thank You Caroline is a little bit out of the way. I think the Glowwater Thralls are content to just hang back. They're both at full hull armor. They
Great
don't
spawn
feel pressed.
from the Lib GTK.
Right next to the Soulless Ordom.
Right where they needed to
could be game if the Crimson Sky Riders decide to go in.
Great Watcher shots. Great Hades fire coming out from the Wizard there, getting a few disables on the Soulless Ordom and some damage. Thank You Caroline is going to swing around. I don't believe they realized Lib GTK spawned in where it did. They haven't seen the Lib GTK yet.
He's backing up. He's rising. That Gap Mortar is going to be an arc imminently. But I think that the Wizard is just going to focus that Hades onto the Soulless Ordom. Hwacha not landing at all. But now the Thank You Caroline is a huge amount of trouble. They didn't need to get aggressive, but the armor of the Thank You Caroline is doing okay. They're going to Moonshine to try and drop down on the Soulless Ordom. Some nice movement to keep himself alive, but the Goomba Stomp comes down. Hwacha lands on the Lib GTK. It's going to disable a massive amount of components. Soulless Ordom's hull is down low, but the armor is down on Thank You Caroline. Brings it back up just in time. Gap Mortar goes down on the Caroline. They need that fire. Hades comes out. The Wizard has closed distance. Its massive form is looming over the Soulless Ordom. Gap goes down on the Soulless, and there it is. Glowwater Thralls is going to take the second game of this best of 3. We are going into the third match. I cannot believe these games.
That was insane. That was a difference of mere moments. The only thing, and I really do mean the only thing, I think the Crimson Sky Riders could have done better in that very last engagement is instead of having the Soulless Ordom continue pieces of ground, pieces of geometry in place, you have Candy Mountain, you have the Arch, you have the little cover area in the southeast. But for the most part, there isn't a lot of cover to speak of, and what cover you do have, teams tend to hug at times.
Yeah, it's very easy to get pinned down in cover. For the Glowwater Thralls, we have the Thank You Caroline being piloted by Fiasco Total. It is a Metamidian with a mortar on the front and a carronade flare on the port side. And for the Arcane Bolt, being piloted by Graphic Sturdy, we have a Brawlbula. It's a pair of Artemi on the outermost wings, but we have 2 Gatlings on the bottom deck and a mortar up top.
On the Lib GTK piloted by Luosi, we have a Metamidian with an Artemis, a double Artemis, in fact, support on the side. And the last ship, the Solus Ortum, another Pyramidian, but this time with a Hades Artemis on the front of it and an Artemis flare gun on the side.
Already a tick against the Glowwater Thralls. They've been spotted trying to move in, and that Hades Artemis fire is very powerful.
Arcane Bolt sending out those Artemis as well as it ducks up and down behind the arch, trying to get decent shots on the Crimson Skyriders team. Arcane Bolt is going to have to do a lot more than that, though, to get a win in this game. He needs to get in and he needs to brawl. Those 2 Gatling cannons, when they focus on a target, will shred the outer hull in moments. You don't even have to wait to fire up the mortar. Just fire it right away. You know the outer hull is going to go down on a ship when both of them get on a target.
The trick here, though, is going to be closing distance. The Solus Ortum, it's all they have for long range is a Hades and Artemis. Though, actually, yeah, we do have that double Artemis on the Live GTK as well. I think what they're banking on is using that double Artemis to disable the guns of the Arcane Bolt before it can get too close. Those lower guns are surprisingly easy to hit compared to the top gun and the side guns. Arcane Bolt dropping down.
This is going to be a little difficult for Thank You Caroline. Coming up in front of Lib GTK, it's absorbing a lot of fire. Lib GTK gave a little bit of hydrogen to look like to get up and stay with it. They're burning moonshine too, but Lib GTK getting affected by that double gat mortar from the Arcane Bolt. Thank You Caroline also putting pressure on it, but Thank You Caroline losing hull much faster than the Lib GTK is. Do we have any engines out? We do have engines out on the Lib GTK, and that's it. Arcane Bolt needs to put pressure on them at this point. They just lost the Thank You Caroline to Lib GTK, and now double Gats trying to get that first kill for the Glowwater Thralls. Can they do it, though, with Solus Ortum approaching so quickly? Arcane Bolt is dropping. Outer hull has taken some chip damage, but they're sinking lower and lower as that balloon. Wow, they just barely saved that balloon from burning down. But outer hull is down, and Arcane Bolt's in a very bad position. They go down. Live GTK and Solus Ortum combined firepower take out the Glowwater Thralls' first round of ships.
Glowwater Thralls, I feel like, made a couple of huge errors. The first one was they didn't use the clouds well enough. I figure they could have come in a lot higher from those clouds there. I mean, the Arcane Bolt, we have Graphic Sturdy running shoot vent. But I think what hurt them even more, I understand that they want to use that vertical mobility. We have Graphic Sturdy with hydrogen and shoot vent, but he has nothing to help close distance. We saw when he was trying to close the distance on the Lip GTK, Luosi was burning moonshine backwards as hard as he could, staying just far enough away that those Gatlings weren't in their optimal range. And so I feel like that's like the big error here, that there is no horizontal mobility on the part of the Arcane Bolt.
I also really think that Arcane Bolt kind of held back during that first engagement. Like, there was some stuttering, some hesitation there on the Arcane Bolt's part. You can't have that, especially with the great pressure we saw on the Lib GTK from the Thank You Caroline. We needed to see that pressure happen. The Arcane Bolt kind of held back a little bit. It didn't go in with the Thank You Caroline. With 3 Gats and 2 mortars firing on the Lib GTK, it would have gone down. There isn't even a question in my mind whether or not the Lib GTK had survived that. It would not have.
Yeah, they needed kerosene, and it's going... I think that that's going to be the deciding factor in this. Though, look at this. The Thank You Caroline is coming wide in the clouds. The Arcane Bolt is hiding out. But if the Thank You Caroline goes in too early, the Lib GTK and the Solus Ortum could go on him a little bit too hard. The Arcane Bolt is rising up hard. He's eating a lot of long-range fire.
He's going to let his balloon absorb a lot of this damage, especially a lot of the component break damage from
Here
the
he
Soulless
comes.
Order and LibGTK.
He's just going to move up and down and make it difficult for the LibGTK and the Soulless Order to try and hit him. But here comes a thank you, Caroline, from the side. The distraction is good. The Gat is doing huge amounts of damage. The Bonk is going to take down the armor. Mortar comes out. Quick kill. There was...
That's exactly
nobody
how
was
you have
looking
to
that
do it.
direction. And now the Arcane Bolt is firing on LibGTK. But the thank you, Caroline, is coming from behind. He's going to try to rise up, but it may not be enough. The spawn has got to come out quick from the Soulless Order, or else this is going to be a 2 for 2.
LibGTK has had a little bit of a reprieve there as Arcane Bolt just sat as it reversed thrusters as fast as it possibly could. Arcane Bolt needs to be a little more active about putting pressure on the opponent's ships along with the thank you Caroline. We can't see the pressure just coming from one ship on a side. It's not going to work out well for the Glowwater Thralls if Arcane Bolt can't get a little more in these fights.
Soulless Order spawns in, but the fight's just too far away. The LibGTK is going to get chipped down. There it goes. Thank you, Caroline, getting that last kill with the mortars. Hades Artemis coming out. Thank you, Caroline has not lost his engines, though. Those Artemis are not landing the way they need to, and they're going to be able to back up and re-engage in short order. No hull damage on the part of the Glowwater Thralls. They are so good at this bait and switch.
I agree 100%, although I gotta harp on this just a little bit. We need to see a little more aggression from the Arcane Bolt once engagements have begun. It's great that he's using himself as a distraction. That's exactly what the Glowwater Thralls need. But if he doesn't get the aggression stepped up as soon as the engagement happens, use those Gatling cannons to their best possible extent, it's not going to keep going exactly in the Glowwater Thralls' favor. I mean, as we can see right now, it's 2-2. It's not 2-1 for the Glowwater Thralls. It's not 2-0 for the Glowwater Thralls. It's tied.
It's not that Graphic Sturdy is being too reserved. It's that he has nothing to close distance with. We're used to seeing people close distance with Kerosene and Moonshine. Like, when
Yes.
people engage, I mean, just as casters, that's what we're used to. But we don't have anything like that on the Arcane Bolt. All we have is vertical mobility and turning capability. And so it looks like he's being reserved, when really he's going as fast as that wide, lovely ship can go.
LibGTK has flown down directly into the Gat fire. Oh my god, all three Gats firing at once on LibGTK. He lost half of his outer hull with engineers hitting it in a matter of moments.
But now he's used hydrogen to rise up above his troubles. Thank you, Caroline, eating a lot of fire. This is the other team using this sort of bait and switch tactic. There goes the thank you, Caroline, and now the Arcane Bolt is all alone. He can't close distance on the Soulless Order fast enough. He does have Moonshine just in case, and he's not going to burn it. He's just going to back up a little bit. He knows that those Gats are too far away and that there's no way for the Arcane Bolt to close in. This time, it's the Glowwater Thralls that got baited.
I think the Crimson Skyriders picked up on the fact that the Arcane Bolt wasn't moving quite as well as the outer hull here could go down on the Arcane Bolt. They're taking a lot of fire. LibGTK is pushing hard, but he drops well below. Arcane Bolt drops well below LibGTK. Forces LibGTK to overshoot. I'm still having trouble with that, and I don't know why. LibGTK overshoots ever so slightly. Arcane Bolt sitting low, only absorbing fire from the Soulless Order. Like we were saying, though, I think the Crimson Skyriders picked up on the fact the Arcane Bolt isn't so fast this one around. Yeah, it's up and down, but back and forth, not quite so much. Thank you, Caroline, putting a lot of pressure on LibGTK. Soulless Order coming in for a nasty ram with the nose going to the Pyramidion, but they get knocked out of arc quite distinctly.
Oh! Quick kill from the thank you, Caroline. That was just out metamidianing him. The Arcane Bolt used its vertical mobility, and it had just enough balloon to keep himself alive. And now the Soulless Order is in a lot of trouble. The Hades are trying to land, but he's just too low. Never thought I'd say that about a Hades. Thank you, Caroline, moving in hard with the Moonshine, trying to close distance, even if the spawn, yep, the Live GTK cannot spawn close enough, and I think this is going to wind up being a 3-for-4 for the Glowwater Thralls.
Coming in from the Ramadan R&D department, it's actually called metaminification.
Metaminification, excellent. Gat's going down, Artemis going to disable the Gatling gun, but we still have to thank you, Caroline, and that is going to be plenty. Solus Ortum gets ripped apart.
There is a question of whether or not there is Lesmok ammo on the Arcane Bolt. There is not. It's all 3 engineers in the pilot, and they're all running greased ammo. All 3 engineers are running greased ammo on the Arcane Bolt.
This.
Oh my goodness, Live GTK has charged in around Candy Mountain.
Why? I don't understand. The Arcane Bolt can't quite close distance, but the thank you, Caroline.
Oh, they're closing distance.
He's going to
just
run around.
Fine, it seems. Still focusing that Gat fire on the Live GTK. Now they're out of arc.
Thank you, Caroline is going to be waiting for him, though. The Solus Ortum has arc on the Arcane Bolt, but if the Arcane Bolt follows the Live GTK around, he's going to be out of arc. It's a 2v1. The thank you, Caroline is right there waiting for him. Gatfire goes down, and that is a huge amount of hull armor. Going down on thank you, Caroline. Big bump knocks him up, but the Live GTK's guns are out of arc. He's going to keep nudging him with his head, but the Arcane Bolt is way too far away. Those Hades are landing on the wrong target, but the Artemis is going to land. The thank you, Caroline, in a lot of trouble here. He's got to drop, but it's not fast enough. We're 4-for-4, and the Arcane Bolt has no hull armor left.
Not only do they not have any hull armor left, but they are incredibly exposed right now. Arcane Bolt sitting very low, below the Solus Ortum and the Live GTK. But the Arcane Bolt's speed, going back to just the previous engagement here, the Arcane Bolt's lack of speed, yeah, it can really drop or rise very quickly, but it wasn't able to match speed at that point. It drew the Mobula around Candy Mountain and made them completely unable to assist the Pyramidion. Thank you, Caroline was all alone in that engagement, and it's what killed them.
Arcane Bolt eating too much fire, popping hydrogen. Holy cow! The crew gets launched into the deck. The Live GTK still has Gat arc, but he's going to switch over to the thank you, Caroline. The Gat fire from the thank you, Caroline was wide. Now the Arcane Bolt has its guns in arc. The Live GTK is in trouble, but the armor is down on the thank you, Caroline. The Solus Ortum is closing distance. The engines are being targeted on the Live GTK. They've got to stop him from moving, and I think it's going to be enough. One turning engine is down. Solus Ortum is too close. He's got to back up. Armor's down on the Lib. Are they going to be able to finish it? Artemis comes out. Here comes the mortar, but it's not fast enough. Who's going to go down first? The Lib is stuck. He can hardly move. The thank you, Caroline, trying to get close enough to the Solus Ortum so that the Hades is within arming time. But they can do it. The Live GTK goes down. The Gats were both on him, and that's going to be it. Glowwater Thralls taking this Sunday Rumble with some excellent play.
I don't... Words do not do justice to what just happened. Within all that chaos that was going on there, Crimson Skyriders did everything in their power to try and take out the thank you, Caroline. But because they focused so singly on it, which is exactly what they needed to do, they also had an issue of completely ignoring the heavily damaged